If I knew then what I know now, oh, how different it would be. Okay, so as you can imagine, in our 20s, we make a few financial mistakes, we make a few life mistakes, and hopefully we learn from that. And now that I'm older and wiser now, I can look back at my 20s and think, what in the world was I doing? What were you thinking? Now, thankfully, a lot of those mistakes didn't hurt me too bad, but oh my goodness, I could have avoided so much pain and heartache. So if I were to have a conversation with my 20-year-old self today, these are the 7 money lessons that I would tell myself. So let's go back in time. What's going on, everybody? Jeff Roche from Good Financial Sense, and today I want to go back in time to a period of my life that I didn't make the best decisions. In your 20s, you think you know it all, you think you know a lot, but you find out pretty quick you're not that smart. You're actually kind of stupid. Sorry, I was there. I was stupid too. But that's one of the joys of being an adult, is that you learn through these bad decisions. And not just life decisions, but also financial decisions. But before I talk about what are the 7 money lessons that I would tell and have a conversation with my 20-year-old self, I first want to give you a bit of a backstory so you kind of know where I was coming from. First things first, you need to know that I was a college dropout. Yep, I dropped out. I didn't go to college out of high school. Whoops. I was supposed to go to college. My dad didn't go to college until he was later on in his life, so it was his dream to have his son go to college. I didn't go at first. I thought I had bigger ambitions to do other things. Realized, thankfully, that I needed to get my butt in gear, so I joined the Army National Guard, got my schooling paid for, went back to school, finally got my degree and all that good stuff. But even though I got my, life back on track as far as going to college, what I didn't get on track was my finances. I was just not really good at managing money, and I could blame my parents. It's all your fault, Mom and Dad.
It's all your fault! All your fault!
Because they weren't the best money role models in my life. Both of them filed bankruptcy, not once, but twice. True story. So that was what was kind of passed down to me. So I started accruing a lot of credit card debt. I joined the Army National Guard, was in the military to help pay for school, to pay for all my school. I still took out student loans, so I didn't need to, just to waste money on a bunch of junk, which we'll get to here in a minute. But like I said, that was where I was coming from. So to have this conversation with my 20-year-old self, we're going to go back to the point where I'm in college. I've joined the Army National Guard, so I'm a little bit more educated. I got a little bit more real-world understanding for the most part. And this is what I would say. The first money lesson that I would have with my 20-year-old self is why you got to be so GQ. So I guess I like clothes, even though I always wear t-shirts for these videos. I don't know why. But I like shoes, I like clothes, and whenever I was in college, when a lot of other kids, college kids, those crazy college kids.
We're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody!
We're wearing Abercrombie & Fitch, American Eagle. I was wearing Gap.
The next customer that comes in, I'm gonna go, "Hi, welcome to the Gap. Can I sell you some crap?"
Which, whatever, Gap, they got some good clothes. But I was wearing dress shirts and dress pants and just trying to look really GQ, look good. Which, there's nothing wrong with looking good. The problem was I wasn't using my hard-earned cash to pay for my clothes. I was using my student loan money to pay for clothes. So why did I have to be so GQ? Who was I trying to impress, right? I was so worried about what other people thought about me that I was wasting so much money on clothes that after 6 months, they meant nothing. So I was paying interest off these clothes because of the student loans that I was using to pay for them. So I would really have a hard conversation with myself and just say, listen, it's okay to look good. It's okay to want to look good, but make sure that you do so within reason, within budget. Nowadays you can go to TJ Maxx, you can go to Marshalls, you can go to all these discount retailers where you can buy some nice stuff for a lot cheaper, but also realize that you don't have to buy a new shirt or new shoes every other day. unless you like Converse, these are my new Converse. I love Converse. All right, the second money lesson I would have with myself is don't miss out on a trip of a lifetime. So one of the things that I finally learned, and I'm thankful that I learned this, is that I stopped wasting so much money on material things like clothes and shoes and junk, and started focusing more on experiences. So that would be like concerts or trips or just cool adventures that we would go on. But the two regrets that I have as far as not having that trip of a lifetime was I was in college right when 9/11 happened. And obviously that was a traumatic event, in our country's history. Now, one of the things that happened after that was if you wanted to travel to New York, you could get flights for dirt cheap. I think they were like less than $100 because nobody wanted to fly. And I remember there was a few of my buddies talked about, we had never been to New York before. And we thought, man, this would be just such a neat, surreal experience to go there, to go to New York City for the first time, but also just to see Ground Zero, with our own eyes. And we just felt like we just wanted to be there to be a part of it, because you can watch it on TV, but until you're actually really on the ground, you don't really understand like just what people are going through. And for whatever reason, we decided not to go. Probably because I was broke and we had to use credit cards to buy for the plane ticket and all like the travel expense. And I think that's why I justified not going. But I didn't go. And I regret that because I just think that would have been such a memory, that I would have for the rest of my life, and just to be able to experience that. Now, the second regret that I have, and probably more so on this regret than the first one, is the same friend of mine, and we had talked about after graduating college that we were going to go trekking over in Europe. So basically, we were just going to go backpacking, stay in hostels, and just see a country, a world that we hadn't seen yet. And once again, it would have cost some money to do so, and I didn't have any cash savings saved up. So I would have used credit cards to pay for it. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but I just know I think we both came to the conclusion that we couldn't afford it, and we decided not to go. Now, I'm not all about charging up credit cards and paying for things that you can't afford, but man, this is one that I do regret because I still haven't been to Europe. I've been to Iraq. I wouldn't really call that a vacation or an adventure, but to see Europe for, just see a country that I've not seen and do so in a way that I will never be able to do until I'm a little bit older.
It's amazing. I cannot get left. There's Big Ben, kids, Parliament.
Now that we have 4 kids, it's not saying impossible, but it's a little bit more challenging. And that's just one thing that I regret not doing that. Instead of wasting my money on clothes, eating out, going to the bars, doing whatever I did in college, I so wish I would have done that. So, hey, 20-year-old Jeff Rose, go to Europe with your buddy. Go and have a good time. All right, the third money lesson and money conversation I would have with my 20-year-old self is start investing earlier. Now, if you watch any of my other YouTube videos, you see I talk about investing a lot, especially getting started investing. Now, I had a bit of an unfair advantage. As a financial advisor, I did start investing around the age of 24 because it took me that long to graduate and get a job, since I was a college dropout in the beginning. So I feel pretty good the fact that I started investing when I was 24 because a lot of people haven't even invested into their 30s and sometimes 40s. But I had the ability to invest a whole lot sooner than that. Having gone through the National Guard and having the GI Bill, having my weekend drill pay. Also, I was working about 30 hours a week plus while I was in college. So I had plenty of money to invest, even if it was like 25 to 50 bucks a month. But I wasted it on crap. Stupid crap. So when I started investing, it was only doing 50 bucks a month into mutual funds. Now, if you check out another video I did where I talked about how to grow $500 into over $500,000, I share a story of how I had a 16-year-old client. It was the son of a client that came in, was mowing lawns, had extra lawn mowing money, and wanted to start investing. And I showed him by investing $500 to start and adding $25 a month, he would grow potentially over $500,000 by the time he was, I think, 61 years of age. Yes, it was a time span of 41 years, but just the fact that he started earlier gave him so much of an advantage to start investing. So yeah, I got started at 24, but man, I could have got started a whole lot sooner and would have grown. It would have grown to be a whole lot more than what I have today. Now, I have made up for it and I save a ton because of just all the business revenue I have coming in. But man, what if I would have started investing 5 years sooner? Potentially maybe even 10 years sooner, because I did have a little bit of money, but was wasting it on crap. The fourth thing that I would tell my 20-year-old self is it's okay to listen to the CDs and listen to music, but man, spend some more time reading books. I have learned so much from reading books through my life that it just amazes me how much knowledge, how much experience that you can gain by reading somebody else's work. I didn't read a lot of books whenever I was in college, and I just didn't. If I did read books, it was more like for fun, not so much for education. And I kind of forgot that. And it was a few years ago, I went back to my alma mater and I was speaking, at my university, and I asked, and these were all like finance students. So these were like the cream of the crop. I mean, they were, this was like some sort of career event that I was at. So I just assumed that they were reading a lot of books. And there's a lot of books I've read that have really just changed and molded my life, have really impacted me in such an amazing way. And when I recited all these titles to these college students, not a single one had read any of them. And I think only a few of them had read a book in the last semester. Spend more time reading books. A book that is a bit controversial, you have Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was probably the book that just changed my mindset into building a business that generates secondary, passive, residual income, however you want to phrase it. Before reading that book, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Now, with Robert Kiyosaki, there's obviously some things about him filing for bankruptcy and like that whole story was made up. Whatever. Have it be a fiction book then. But either way, like that book made me think differently in a good way. Other books I read, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover was a huge book for me starting as a financial advisor. David Bach's Automatic Millionaire. And then Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week just blew my mind away of, building a business and a lifestyle and outsourcing so much of the crap that you don't want to do, and to be able to sustain that and have a profitable, amazing business. And I've applied so much of these book strategies into my life, into my business, that without that, I don't know where I would be at today. And I know just if I was just listening to music over and over again and not getting this real world experience, man, it'd be a sad story. I wouldn't be here today doing this YouTube video. But make a goal to read one new book. If you can read one book a month, 12 books a year, it will change your life. And I'll have some links in the description here of some of my favorite books or some blog posts I have to talk about some of my favorite books. Because there are so many books out there, no matter if you're trying to improve on, building your wealth, personal development, whatever that is, there are tons of great books out there. All right, the fifth money lesson I would have with my 20-year-old self is I would say, you just stop with the MLM. Get away from multi-level marketing. And I know there's some people watching this right now and they're going to say, MLM has been so good to me. It's gave me so much opportunity. It's gave me this great side business. For you, congratulations. I'm glad that it worked out for you. Me personally, I just had a miserable experience with MLM. Not just once, but twice. And it was pretty much my fault. But to me, MLM this is like the easy way, sleazy way to start a business. Doesn't take a lot of upfront money, and now you gotta go sell your family and friends to sign up for this thing that they don't even need, that you don't even need. And what I get really upset about MLM is not so much if you have a good product or a good service to offer, then that's fine. Sell the product or service, but don't sell the dream. Don't sell this idea of like, oh, hey, you could start this and you're going to make so much money on the side. It's ridiculous. All working part-time out. I don't care what business that you have. I don't care what MLM or even non-MLM business that you have. It takes more than working 4 hours a week in the beginning to grow it to anything that's going to be substantial. So stop spreading those lies. But I got so brainwashed that I was going to these Tuesday night meetings and I was telling all my family and friends, But the reality is I wasn't making any money. And it wasn't until probably almost a year into doing this business that the guy that was mentoring me had shared with me like how much he was making. And yeah, he was making 5 figures, but it was about the same amount as a teacher salary, except he was working more than 40 hours a week and had been doing it for so many more years before me. And that's why I just realized, why am I wasting so much time in building basically somebody else's business instead of focusing on what I'm passionate about and the things I want to work on? So ultimately that led me to starting the blog and focusing on educating others on financial wellness and financial planning and investing. And that has worked out gangbusters for me. So MLM, yes, could it work? If you have a good product that you want to represent, okay, I'll give you that. But if you're trying to sell the dream and trying to recruit other people underneath you, and that's the way that you're trying to make money, then you know what? Get away. Get away. Get away. Back off.
2 years, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to drive to your work. You're going to walk into your boss's office. You're going to sit down, and you're going to quit your job. You're going to explain that little pyramid scheme thing that you almost got terminated for last year. You're now an entrepreneur, and you're going to be doing that full time.
Whoa, back up. Did you just say pyramid scheme and then almost got terminated?
All right, the 6th thing I would tell my 20-year-old self is seek out positive and successful mentors a whole lot sooner than you did. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't have a lot of money growing up. You know, my parents didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have a lot of good money lessons. Wasn't surrounded by successful entrepreneurs, was not surrounded by successful business owners. So I was surrounded by your typical 9-to-5 people. You know, worked a good job, made a good living, and that's about it. It wasn't until I started as a financial advisor. Actually, didn't start until I was an intern at the investment firm that ended up leading to a full-time job. I was hired by a broker there that was the top producer in that branch. And getting a chance to work with him and just see his work ethic, his work drive, just what it took to achieve the success that he had, that was just mind-blowing to me. And it made me realize, my goodness, like I have surrounded myself with people that, I'm not saying they're bad people, but they just did not have any huge or major goals that they were working towards. I mean, they had just reached a point in their life where they were content and they had settled, you know, for what they had. And it was just fun seeing a different perspective. And it challenged me to grow and to be better. And since then, I have been really diligent on seeking out people that I want to mirror my life around, people that I look up to and aspire. It had me join my first coaching program called the Strategic Coach. I did that for 5 years. I then was a part of Michael Hyatt's Inner Circle program 2 years ago. And just people that are not just crushing their businesses, but also crushing their personal life, you know, with their personal goals and their family goals and with their marriages and their kids and everything else. So be diligent on seeking out mentors. But one piece of advice, when you go out seeking a mentor, the last thing that you want to say to this person is, can I pick your brain? You don't realize how often we get that asked of us. And to me, that's one of the most annoying questions that I can get, because what that says to me is that you don't value my time. You want me to give up my time to help you out when you've not offered anything in return. So when you go out seeking a mentor, you don't want to pick their brain. You first want to figure out, how can you provide value to them? Is there some way that you can give them a value before you ask? Give before you ask. Give before you ask. When you just ask, nobody wants to help you. And we definitely don't want you to pick our brain. So don't ask us that. Offer value before you ask. Remember that. All right, the last thing that I would tell my 20-year-old self is, do not let life flush away your dreams. And this is something that I think a lot of people need to hear and need to just realize. It's so easy to hit a point in your life where you just say, you know what? this is it. Like, this is my life. I've settled. Like, it doesn't change. I cannot make this any better. There's just no way that I could ever see this being different. Once you have that mindset, you're done. I mean, your life's pretty much over. You've already settled for, like, this is my life, for the rest of the time I'm on this earth. And one way that I started thinking about this was whenever I was younger, I had won this Lamborghini poster at some carnival. It was a poster with a yellow Lamborghini. And I loved that poster, and I put it on my wall with thumbtacks, and because that's all we had back then. And I was on my wall for I don't know how many years. And I remember my dad telling me, if you want that car, you can buy it. You just have to work to get it. Now, at the time, I think I was probably 7 years old, so I had no idea how much a Lamborghini cost. And then as I got older and I realized how much it costs to buy a Lamborghini, that's a lot of money. So I basically just concluded that, you know what, I'm never gonna be able to afford a Lamborghini. Why? I don't need a Lamborghini. I don't want a Lamborghini. Screw the Lamborghini. But it doesn't have to be that way. Now, I will tell you, I probably will not ever buy a Lamborghini. Maybe when I get older. But with 4 kids, it's a little hard to tug around four kids in a Lamborghini. But could I buy a Lamborghini? Yeah, I sure could. Could I pay cash for all of a Lamborghini? As of right now, not all of it, but a good chunk of it. But I'm in a nice position where now I could buy a Lamborghini, but I realize things that are more important to me, like taking trips with my family and just doing other things versus buying a Lamborghini. But I finally hit a point where I just asked myself, okay, maybe I can't afford a Lamborghini today, but what would I need to change in my life today to be able to afford a Lamborghini later on? What are some of the key changes I'd have to make in my life, in my business to make it happen? So often, we get stuck of this, oh, I can't do it. There's no way I can do it. Instead of asking yourself, okay, how do I do it? What would I need to change? What do I need to do differently today to be able to do that and afford that later on? And that's how I approach so many things in my life now. It's not, I can't, it's how can I? What does that look like? So it's just a process of just writing down some notes and kind of sketching them out on a notepad to see what that looks like. So what I would tell my 20-year-old self is that don't settle. Don't get stuck at this point in your life where you think that nothing can change. It can. It's just a matter of what you need to do, the actions that you need to take today to make that change happen. All right, if you're watching this, either you are in your 20s or maybe you're reflecting back on when you were 20, what are some of the things that you know that you need to do today? What are some of the things that you would tell your 20-year-old self or yourself right now that you need to do differently? Is that investing? Is that not wasting your money on stupid things like clothes and gadgets and tech things, whatever that is? What do you need to do today to change, to make your life better for later on? We all can be different. We all can make a change. We just have to be conscious of where we are right now and what we got to do. You know what you need to do. And if you don't know what that is, leave a comment below. Let me know what your situation is so I can maybe give you some guidance and give you a nudge in that right direction. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Hello, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the GFC YouTube channel because I want to help you achieve your financial goals. This is Jeff Rose from Good Financial Sense. Until next time, I'm saying peace out.
What's going on, everybody? I can't talk.
I don't know what that even means. I'm a rock star. This is not good. Let me just start that part over.